Hello, everybody. How are you today? This is Dr. Ann Merkel, and today I'm going to share in a brief video some information that has affected me, especially recently, but over the last number of years. And I've studied up on it for, 10, 20 years. And that is the study and the importance of understanding about electromagnetic frequencies and electromagnetic fields and just electronics and electronics devices that may impact your health. So statistics show that, one, you can measure a person's sensitivity to electromagnetic frequencies. It's a blood test. It shows a coagulation of the hemoglobin and the red blood cells and their inability to satisfactorily transfer oxygen to cells, because the cells are all red blood cells are all sticky and coagulated. So there is a blood test that can check your level of impact of the EMFs, electromagnetic fields or frequencies on your system. And they estimate that worldwide 35% of the population has a chronic health disorder directly related to electromagnetics and their use of electronic devices. There are at least 3 to 4% of the population that know they are very sensitive because they can feel it. They can feel when somebody walks into a room with a cell phone on. They can feel strong Wi-Fi. They can feel it when they are driving down a highway and there's a cell phone tower close by. So this is not good. I am familiar with whole families that have gotten sick and had to move out of their house when a new cell phone tower goes up that has 5G. I've heard of families moving into new smart houses that everything is wired and you can access data and turn on and turn off things remotely from your cell phone and other devices. And I know cases of families that all come down with some sort of weird chronic illness when they move into their smart house. There are a lot of people that are very sensitive to the smart meters that electric companies put on houses in some parts of the country. I have a meter that looks like a smart meter, but it digitally transfers back through the electric line the information about my electrical use and number of hours and all that kind of stuff, instead of like a smart meter where it beams it out as a Wi-Fi kind of thing. The smart meter will charge outwardly to provide the information the electric company needs to know. However, there is a charge set up all the way around that smart meter, and that includes on the other side of the wall inside the house. Now, in my house, my electric meter is right next to the dining room table where we eat all our meals, and so that is not good. If it were a smart meter, it would be really dangerous. As it was, I used to really feel the electromagnetics coming from my electrical box. There was one on the main floor and one down below, a secondary box. And so I started studying about dirty electricity, which is notoriously found in the southeastern United States. It just has to do with wiring codes and lack thereof, and early wiring systems, and then the codes changing, but the older houses not being rewired for the new requirements. Anyway, dirty electricity sets up imbalances in the charges that run through your house with the normal electricity. There are surges that can cause people to have problems, and there can be problems with grounding issues, which can be taken care of pretty easily by an electrician, because all electricians know how to test for grounding. But they don't know how to test for dirty electricity. You have to have somebody that's really gone beyond and has studied specifically. And there are meters. I have 3 or 4 different meters that I can plug into a socket and get a reading on all different kinds of things. But in particular, I'm looking for dirty electricity or really high static in the line that will be shared with people in the environment around the electric socket. So if you are in a small office space or you have a home that has dirty electricity, you're being zapped, which causes a lot of undue, unnecessary stress in your body. And I recommend certain filters. If it's like, for example, I went into one of my clients or my patients' offices last week because they said they can't bring it to themselves to ask people to turn off their cell phones when they walk into their office. But I said, well, at least I could do is check to see if you've got dirty electricity. So I went in last week and I checked all their sockets, and they had some major charge. You're supposed to be like under 100 on this 1 meter. And they had one in their bathroom, they had a plug that was over 1200. And so by putting a filter on that plug, I brought it down to 600. And then I put another filter in another plug that had, like 600 already. And it brought it down to, I think, below 100. And so it also brought down the other plugs, the other receptacles in that office space, which wasn't a huge office space, but it had its own electrical box. So once you put in for the phase 1 and the phase 2, the plug-ins, then you can usually lower the electricity and the dirtiness in that particular office for the whole circuit. And basically, it will save your instruments, your machines, your appliances. The wear and tear of dirty electricity counts on, life years, but it also saves electricity. So it lowers your bill, and you don't have to replace your machines or appliances as often. So that's good. But the bottom line is that you're not getting the confusion in the waves that interfere with your own body's electromagnetics. Okay, when we're out in nature, especially walking barefoot, the perfect situation is walking barefoot on a beach, whether it's a lake or a river or an ocean, and just being in the water and getting the regular vibration, the natural vibration from the earth, which will cut down on your pain, cut down on your stress, cut down on all kinds of other chronic disorders. It cuts down on the inflammation in your body, to just allow yourself to relax. So the easiest thing is to go out in nature as often as you can. I was out in the yard yesterday. I was raking leaves, and then I sat down on the ground and I made sure and put my hands and my head against the dirt, the grass. And I just laid there for a while. I got sunshine, so that was good. And I also got to rebalance my electromagnetics by just bringing in what was coming up from the earth. When you're using a cell phone, when you're using Wi-Fi, when you're being zapped by dirty electricity in your home or office, or even your car, you are creating problems for your body. And yes, our bodies adapt. And yes, our bodies are wonderful rebalancing machines, or not machines, but entities, organisms. However, at the same time, we are bombarding ourselves with frequencies that are unhealthy, even with the adaptability of our body. So, in January, after a postponement, they are scheduled to enact and turn on AT&T and Verizon cell towers for 5G and an amped up version of 4G, which is stronger than what they're using right now. So what's this mean to you? If you have a 5G phone, then when you are in proximity to that cell phone tower, it's either going to directly beam to your device, or it will beam to a repeater satellite antenna that in cities, you're finding them on the power poles, on roofs, on trees, all along the roads, so that every so many 100 feet, they have one of these repeaters so that it receives from the cell tower or the satellite, because there are probably 6,000 satellites up there now, at least. And then it beams directly. So you've got all the kind of fast service you need, and the driverless cars and trucks can do their thing, and all the smart houses and appliances and all that kind of stuff can act directly with the satellites or these little repeater antennas. If you're using 4G, it'll be like it has been before, but it'll be faster and it will be more direct, and you'll get better reception. However, what happens to the body? When they turned on 2 T-Mobile cell phone towers in our area last September, I immediately felt it. And these are miles away from my house. Some of them are, well, one I can't see at all. The other one I can see, but I can hide kind of behind trees in part of my house. And immediately I had more aches, more pains, had to use homeopathy more often to just get rid of the aches and pains. I had to more carefully watch what I eat so it didn't trigger any allergic reactions. I can't wear earrings anymore because the metal, I mean, I just did put my stud back in for the holidays, but I haven't been wearing any rings, any bracelets, necklaces, or earrings on a regular basis like I used to. These are new glasses. They have no metal in the frames because I had I have these wire rims that I love dearly, but they were picking up. And even though they don't have any frame here, they have metal here, even though it's titanium and it's really lightweight. These are better than some of my other ones that have a whole metal front, and then they have plastic with metal down the sides. So, I had to go, search for glasses. They don't make very many kinds of glasses and they don't fit as well as some of the other ones. But I've got my prescription and I can see, and they're very lightweight, and I don't get zapped, because I was having a lot of pain in my head and in my neck. And so I don't have that now that I've changed glasses. Back to the dirty electricity. The one thing I did for myself, for my own health, was after I started noticing that I was being bombarded, and I've got rental houses around me because we're in a resort community. So when people were coming and going with their cell phones and their devices and their Wi-Fis, I had to figure out how to take care of myself. So I had already hardwired my computer. I've got a regular old-fashioned dial-up phone, complete with the cord. I don't use the cordless phones anymore because they set up a field that's really dangerous. And, you know, it's inconvenient. Yeah, I was one of the first users of a cell phone. I had a bag phone with an antenna in my car as soon as they came out with them. That was back in the mid 80s. So, you know, don't talk to me about, you know, well, I'm just old fashioned. I don't use devices. I've used every kind of device you can imagine. My first dissertation in 1984 was on the use of computers in education. So yeah, and that was before the PC. So anyway, I go way back with computers, and all the other devices. I've got pads and I've got phones and I've got, you name it. However, I'm one of those lucky sensitive people, and so I don't turn on my Wi-Fi to be out in the air. I have everything plugged in. And in my next video, I will show you pictures of exactly how I've plugged things, how I can have a Roku device on my TV upstairs without using Wi-Fi. I keep my cell phone off most of the time. I check it once or twice a day and turn it on, stand away from it. If I don't really use it for sending phone calls out, I'll text occasionally, and I'll receive texts or calls, and then I'll follow up on my landline. But the thing I did for the dirty electricity in the house was I put in a whole house filter, and I'll share with you a picture of that too, because a lot of people ask. You know, I have some relatives that were saying, well, she's always talking about how she can't go anywhere, she can't visit us because you know, she's so sensitive, but she does a Zoom call for relatives on Christmas. Well, I did do a Zoom call, and I did facilitate the Zoom call, and I know that monitors like I have in front of me that I'm looking into right now do emit electromagnetics, but they're a lot less than if I had Wi-Fi on. So I'll show you my whole house filter tomorrow on hello on the video I'll share there, and then I'll give you, you know, these things. There are a number of really good books that I'll share with you tomorrow on the video, and that will give you some reading material if you're interested in pursuing. Otherwise, I work with people regularly to help them to remediate any problems they have with electromagnetics. And I, you know, generally, unless I eat something bad for my diet, I don't have pain. I don't have a lot of issues, but I don't go out in public around a lot of people's cell phones. And I try not, you know, if I go to gatherings of friends or even board meetings, I'll ask them to please turn off their cell phones because I can feel them. And so people know if they come to my office for a treatment or they come to visit, they got to either leave their phone in the car or turn it off. And the safest way to do that is you can put your phone totally off. That's good. Or you can put it on airplane mode and turn off your locator. And the locator is the thing that is sending out information. Here I am, here I am, here I am. And that's just almost as bad as searching for information elsewhere. Another thing that's important, and you know, there are a number of vets talking about it. If you have furry babies like I do, this is my daddy's namesake. He died in 2020, and I got little Edward J. Merkel III shortly after that. So if you have furries in your home that you care about, they're getting a bigger dose of any Wi-Fi or electronic garbage. You know, they're getting more than you are, and you really don't want them to be zapped. So that's important. So the bottom line is drink more water. You're like a battery. And with the electromagnetics, you are getting fried if you don't make sure and hydrate. And I'm talking at least a half your body weight in ounces per day. And in addition to that, turn off your Wi-Fi router and modem if you do use Wi-Fi. I highly recommend that you use Ethernets to hook yourself in. And if you have to have your computer or a device that needs to be plugged in away from where your modem is, then I can show you tomorrow how to do that, because I've got them all over the house and I don't have to have my Wi-Fi on ever. So, you know, and everybody that comes into my house goes, oh my gosh, it's so peaceful here. Oh, I can relax. And then they'll sit on the couch and fall asleep. So anyway, no, that's just relatives that do that. So anyway, I hope that you had a Merry Christmas. I had a great gathering with my family all over the United States, including Hawaii. And so I will show you more specifics tomorrow. And I hope you are conscious of your device hygiene and your device etiquette. I have actually gone to seminars online that also had people in attendance live, and they will start the big conference out by saying, would everybody please turn their devices off or put them on airplane mode with the locator turned off, for the benefit of everybody in the room, especially those that are very highly sensitive and can't be here if you leave them on. And that has no relation to turning off the sound. Turning off the sound where it'll still vibrate doesn't do anything. You're still receiving, you're still sending out. So you've got this constant grab going on with electromagnetics. So you don't need that. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the many symptoms that people are showing up with because of overuse of their devices and misuse of their devices. And remember, I am somebody that uses devices. I am someone that is very savvy. I'm the one that sets up all the computers in my family and that runs the Zoom calls and you know, does some basic programming and all that kind of stuff. But I also know how to maintain and manage these devices, because if you don't, they will make you sick. So hope this hasn't been a bummer for you, but I hope it's opened your eyes, and there are ways to still use your devices, but do it in a healthy way. So have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.